Hi everyone, it's Raina. So I just wanted to say a few words on the solar eclipse in Aries on March 29th. I live in the Chicago area, and for me and people in the central time zone, it will be at 5:58 a.m. So I imagine everywhere in the world it will be on the 29th. Now, I just want to say that this is during some retrograde activity with Mercury and Venus. And so, even though this is like a new moon on steroids, as they say, there still is going to be that retrograde action that counters it. But I mean, I'm going to tell you something. This is really positive from what I can see. I don't listen to many astrologers. I sometimes listen to channelers and stuff, on YouTube, and they have been talking about different aspects of this. And even though they don't say, oh, it's something that is negative, there is this sense that, great shifts are occurring. But I really think that it seems like a positive push forward. Again, in spite of the retrogrades, which will be going direct within less than 2 weeks, or within 2 weeks, I would say, of this particular eclipse. So I'm going to just go through some of the things that I see here with the planets and signs and then the aspects. Sun, moon, obviously, at the time of new moons and solar eclipses are going to be in the same sign and the same degree. So it's 9 degrees of Aries for both of them. And that's the same degree as a Mercury retrograde, but at this time, Mercury is at 0 degrees of Aries, poised to go back into Pisces, and Venus has already gotten back into Pisces at 28 Pisces. And Mars is at 22 degrees of Cancer. So Venus and Mars form a trine. It's like I see very few squares or oppositions. It's mostly like just trines, sextiles, and conjunctions. And it's like usually I see kind of like a mixed bag. So that's where I'm getting my idea that there's going to be something very harmonious happening on this particular date. But remember that with eclipses, the influence can be felt earlier, like a month earlier, as well as a couple of months later. So for each individual, how this impacts you may not be readily available at the time of the eclipse. So just talking about some of these inner planets, the Sun, Moon, and Mercury all in Aries indicate that first house energy of new beginnings, and it's cardinal fire, so it's not only something that is very independent and passionate, but also cardinal means take charge, not just sitting there and talking about something, but actually doing. So there's a lot of movement that can be going on, meaning that things start to really rock and roll. Aries is ruled by Mars, which is the god of war. Hopefully, because of these friendly angles, there will not be actual military action. Or if there is something that is connected to the military, it will be in a much more positive light. Like there will be a constructive reason, not a destructive reason. Venus at a late degree of Pisces. Venus is exalted in Pisces, so this is great for just a sense of I was going to say universal love. I mean, that's not really what Pisces represents. That would be more like Aquarius or something like that. But Pisces is exalted in Venus is exalted in Pisces because of the unconditional love aspect, meaning that a person doesn't place any kind of demands on another person in terms of if they will love them. They love them no matter what. And so holding that vibration as a collective can be like a beautifully inspiring experience. And it can also soften us because the Aries energy can be quite combustible and aggressive and insensitive. Mars in Cancer, another water sign, is strange bedfellows, but it's because Mars is very it's the god of war, right? And it's the ruler of Aries as well as the co-ruler of Scorpio. In Cancer, which is another water sign, it tends to make a person, if it's in an individual's chart, very hypersensitive. In other words, emotional, touchy, where the person takes offense to things, and also very aggressive in trying to demand love from other people. And that can, I think with this Venus-Mars combination, now they are forming a trine, so that's very good. But I still think that in relationships, there might be some possibility, even with this friendly angle, that there are people that, especially with the Mars influence, that feel that they are being denied love from someone and they are aggressive about trying to obtain it. And of course, the problem with that is that if you have to, strong arm someone or kind of guilt them, manipulate them to get them to give you the time of day, then it probably isn't the right relationship. And so there might be I still think there could be some relationship drama in certain cases. But it certainly doesn't show up in terms of, well, I will say one thing. The Aries energy itself is very impulsive and very, because the moon is in Aries. So even though this is not a full moon, that very fiery cardinal sign can create a lot of bossiness, a lot of trying to get pushiness, trying to get people to do to bend their will towards you, and that can be pretty irritating. So we have a lot of cardinal activity here, and that really speaks to action. But of course, sometimes action can be taken hastily. And with Mars in Cancer, people are acting on their emotions. So, and the moon in Aries, now that I think about it, can be very, like volcanic. Is that a word? And, but there's just so much good stuff happening here. For instance, trines. Well, a trine between Mercury and Mars. So the ability to be very timely with one's remarks, but not too hasty. Trines, a lot of well-aspected energy with Mars. Mars trining Saturn, great for hard work. Something that you really want to get. This is a great time to get things done, even with these retrogrades. You might not, you can be very productive and very, vigorous in what you're doing. It may not be the best time to start a new thing or launch something, but it could be a wonderful time to just persevere with the project and, feel like you're not going to give up on it. Like conjunctions between Mercury and Saturn, that's good for concentration and studies. And Venus and Saturn, that's great for having constancy in your relationship with someone where you feel a sense of duty, and so to me that can be harmonious in relationships. And all these conjunctions between Sun and Moon and Mercury and Venus to Neptune, which, yes, of course, Neptune sometimes can bring an influence of deception, but it can also bring that exaltation, that transcendence on the spiritual level. And that can be good for love and for your meditations and having compassion for humanity and, yourself as an individual, and really having that humility to see yourself as part of the spiritual, the collective soul. And then sextiles from those same planets to Pluto, which is very empowering. Even a conjunction between Saturn and Neptune, because remember that Saturn and Neptune are both going into Aries in the next few months. So that, as a matter of fact, the day after this solar eclipse, Neptune is going into Aries. That's a huge shift because of the fact that Neptune is a generational planet and Aries is the first sign. I have videos on all the signs and what's going to happen with the houses, the house that Saturn and Neptune both going into Aries, how it's going to affect each of your sun or ascendant signs. So please check out my channel for those videos. And anyway, I think this is a wonderful situation. I don't see it as being something to worry about. So I'm a little bit puzzled. I'm going to have to listen to some other people that I usually follow to see, because I don't know, I got like this feeling that some of them were talking about it in very, not that it was a negative way, but it seemed like it was like, wow, this is really something else. And I think it just feels like good vibes, that's all. But we'll see. So that's what I have for you. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.